The first African American to set foot on what would later become Montana was likely York, who accompanied the Lewis and Clark expedition in 1805-1806. York was William Clark's slave, but according to journal entries, he was a valued member of the group and an equal among the other men. York was the first black person Native Americans had ever seen. Amazed, they tried to rub the black off his skin. Only a handful of African Americans came to Montana prior to the culmination of the Civil War. The floodgates opened in the years that followed, and the continued waves of African Americans leaving the South in search of opportunity, freedom, and adventure grew the population in Montana and neighboring states to its highest percentages ever at the turn of the century. In many ways, the children of these early pioneers, ranchers, miners, and buffalo soldiers were Montana's first generation of African Americans. Walter Dorsey was born around 1866 in Sandy Spring, Maryland. By 1891, he and his eldest brother William had moved west to the booming mining city of Helena. There, on the last day of 1891, Walter Dorsey, 26, married Elmira Kelly, 29. By 1896, they had opened a grocery store on North Rodney Street. After successfully establishing their business on Helena's booming east side, they moved both their residence and their grocery from Rodney Street to an existing combination grocery residence that they rented on 8th Avenue. For the next 5 years, the Dorseys, along with Annie Kelly, ran their grocery. They stayed in the neighborhood where they had an established clientele. In the spring of 1904, they purchased the vacant lot on the northeast corner of Hoback and 8th Avenue, which they could see from their front porch. The Dorseys moved a store building and a house onto the property almost immediately, joining the two buildings into a single entity with two facades, and opened another store. The substantial and successful grocery and residence reflected the Dorsey family's prominence in Helena's African American community. Walter had by then been a noteworthy personage for some time, and by 1906 he was a pillar of the close-knit black community. The Dorseys were especially active in the St. James African Methodist Episcopalian Church, located 3 blocks to the south of their grocery on Hoback and 5th Avenue. The St. James Literary Society boasted over 100 participants at its weekly meetings. The society provided Black Helenans with a forum for discussion of community issues, an audience for performing artists, and an opportunity for local poets, playwrights, and essayists to present their work. In addition, Dorsey was a noted member of Helena's all-black band. On the last day of 1907, Walter Dorsey died at just 41 years old. His wife, Elmira, along with her family, continued the successful grocery business tradition they'd begun. She would own, occupy, and operate the property for another 25 years. By 1931, Elmira Dorsey, then 69, had been running a large grocery as a widowed mother and black businesswoman in a realm dominated by white males for 35 years. In 1932, as the Great Depression set in, Elmira sold her property, home, and business and moved to Los Angeles.